What's good in the YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm bringing us a video on Lupinranger versus Patoranger. This will be focusing on episodes 48 and 49. Episode 48 is called The Real Face Under the Mask, and episode 49 is called As a Phantom Thief, as a Police Officer. Both of these episodes were really good, and again, these are the second and third parts of the final episodes. Again, the way that they're doing this is that there's like final 5 episodes that are all supposed to be this whole conclusionary story where it's concluding the whole story that's going on in the show. And parts 2 and 3 were very good, and I'm looking forward to the last 2 parts. I already know what's happening in both of those parts, and I'll discuss it towards the end for anyone that is curious. And I don't know every detail, but I know enough where I can give you a pretty good idea of some of the things that will be happening. I don't know if there'll be an epilogue or anything like that. I would imagine they'll have something at least small that will maybe show what will happen in the future with them, because I feel like that's pretty likely. But let's get started. So episode 48 was a pretty good episode. Pretty much what happened in this episode was that it's the big reveal. It's the big episode that people have been waiting for since episode 1. When are we gonna find? When are the Power Rangers gonna find out that the Lupinrangers are who they are? You know, they've been asking this since the start. They've been wondering, who are these people? Who are these people under these masks? Who could they be? This is the episode that finally reveals it, and it's a pretty interesting episode because what happens is that Noel obviously is captured by Degranio by Gochi. Well, Gochi captures Noel for Gochi captures Noel for Degranio, and what happens is that it leads to this whole story where Noel is used as this captive that has to be the bartering piece that brings the Power Rangers in to save Noel. At the same time, the Lupinrangers come because they want to save Noel. So both teams are coming. And again, this is one thing that goes back to something I've been saying since Noel was first introduced, is that I've believed since the start of his introduction that he was going to be the character that would lead to the two teams coming together. And that is 100% right. And that is what happens. Like, I've known this since then, and I had a feeling for a very long time that he would be the key factor that would turn the tide for them being against each other to them actually working together. Now, I'm not saying that they become buddy-buddy instantaneously, but this is he is that key person that really turned the tide for how they stood as far as their way of looking at things. And this episode leads to Degranio getting involved, and Gochi's still in this episode. Gochi also creates another kind of gangler monster, but it's a combination of different collection pieces into one big monster that has like a rabbit head. That we've seen this monster before, but it's still pretty important. And what happens is that the Lupinrangers are made by Degranio to reveal to the entire world who they are. And it's a pretty big reveal. The music gets all intense, and what happens is that Umika is really the deciding factor. She decides that she wants to reveal her identity, and Noel is against this, of course, and so is Kagori and everyone else, but they do it anyway. They show who they are. Everyone knows then and there that they are who they are, and it definitely turns heads, and it shifts the whole world's way of thinking, obviously. Now, what this does end up leading to is eventually, fighting between the Power Rangers and the Lupinrangers. Degranio does escape after Noel is freed, which what happens is that when he is let go eventually, Noel joins them in the fight. He transforms as well. He goes as Lupin X, and what happens is that Lupin X and Lupin Red use their super forms to go up against Gochi and this other gangler monster, which we saw in the episode, which was pretty cool. As far as things go, otherwise, yeah, it was like a black experiment body, which was like the status quintuple monster. what happens is that we end up seeing them fight the Gangler and also Goche and manage to destroy them both. And what happens is that I believe it's the larger Gangler gets turned big when Goche gets destroyed. And what happens is that the Lupinrangers end up fighting against this monster, and it's pretty interesting to see all that happen. And they do use Victory Lupin Kaiser, I believe, for I'm thinking of episode 49, I believe. But we do end up seeing that whole battle happen, which is pretty cool. Is that right? I'm actually trying to remember now. Is it 49? No. Yeah, no, yes, that's right. They use Victory, Lupin Kaiser, and the Patorangers also get involved as well. As far as things go, this episode is also interesting just because it leads to that whole destruction of Goche, which means that Degranio and Nasta get involved, and the only two key players are Zamigo and Degranio. So this leads into episode 49, which episode 49 was pretty good. 49, now since the Lupinrangers and the Patorangers know each other, what happens is that there's more fighting that occurs. Zamigo and Degranio are now against each other because Zamigo has his motives and Degranio has his motives. And so the thing is that they're both trying to defeat the Lupinrangers and rule. What we do end up seeing is that Degranio does decide to come down to Earth and turn big now, and he decides to do insane damage using the power of the Lupin collection. And it's pretty crazy to see that battle where we get to see the Lupinrangers use Victory Lupin Kaiser. We also get to see Noel get involved in the battle. Also, what we do get to see in this episode, and this happens before that, is that there is conversation between Kichiro and Kairi, where they actually meet each other. And the thing is that Kairi brings up this really important point, which is the fact that those who cannot rely on the cops become thieves. And that's interesting in a way, and that's actually fairly accurate to what happened to the story itself, but in reality why thieves are the way they are in some cases. Not always, but in a very simplistic way, that's definitely an accurate statement, and it's very poignant and very significant to obviously the whole story itself and why they are the way they are. But at the same time, what we do end up seeing is that Kairi wants Kichiro to be upset with him, just angry at him just because he's always been this way towards the Lupinrangers. And in reality, he's angry, but he's not angry at him. He's angry